Singapore wakes up. Wake up, Glenn, Angel, and the Flying Dutchman.
Wake up in the morning feeling like
Kiss 92's Big Show.
No Angel. Angel's in South Africa. She'll be back on Monday on her birthday. All right, we've got Adrian Choo from Korea Agility International with us. Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning, Glenn, and good morning to all our Kiss 92 listeners out there.
How are you feeling today?
Fantastic. We're just one day away from the weekend.
We are, aren't we? Okay, so today we're talking about the 5 deadly career sins. What's this all about?
Yeah, well, we wanted to do 7 sins, 7 deadly sins, but we don't have time, so we're just going to do the 5. And over the weekend, I was watching 7. Remember the movie 7?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah, it was a disturbing movie, as many of us would remember.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, actually, a lot of these sins are applicable to our careers, our workplace. So I thought, let's run through a couple of them and see whether or not we are guilty of practicing it. And if we are, what can we do about it?
How do you relate those 7 deadly sins to your career?
Yeah. So, for instance, the first deadly sin is slothfulness.
Right.
And it sounds so archaic to use the word slothfulness.
Yeah.
Which is laziness.
Laziness, basically.
Yeah, laziness.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of times we want to achieve success. We want to be successful at whatever we do, but we don't realize the amount of work that goes into it. People look at you guys and they go like, wow, successful show, successful career, but a lot of hours and a lot of hard work goes behind it, doesn't it?
Right.
That's
Just try and make it look easy. That's what many people do, right?
I think so, And
Yeah.
someone once said that the really successful, the real experts make the difficult look easy. And you look at it, it's like, wow, that's so easy to do, but it's not. Really, it's not. It's like the old story about you look at a duck on a pond on the water, peacefully sitting, floating on the water, but you don't see the legs paddling underneath like crazy.
That's true. Yeah, okay.
All you see is a duck. Wow, he's floating nicely, but there's a lot of hard work that goes behind it. And I think that's why if you are slothful, or lazy, we won't be able to get it. But there are 2 types of laziness. We'll talk about it later as well.
Okay. All right. Let's continue to talk to Adrian on the Big Show TV. Up next, the Jonas Brothers featuring Bailey Zimmerman. This is Strong Enough on Kiss 92. Sorry.
All right, we're with Adrian, and today we're talking about the 5 deadly career sins. Just a quick run through. We're going to be talking about slothfulness, greed, or as we know it, gluttony, envy, arrogance, which can be described as pride, and lust. Slothfulness we described as laziness, right?
Yeah.
And you said there were 2.
I think there's 2 types of laziness. There's a good laziness and there's a bad laziness. Okay, the bad laziness is lazy stupid.
Okay.
Okay, wait, before we get into the good laziness, all of you take your children, put them in another room. They can't hear that there's good laziness.
There's good laziness and there's bad laziness. Good laziness is stupid. Okay, which means that I don't want to do so much work. I just cut corners here, and I don't do, I don't put in the hours. I don't want to put in the effort. That's bad. That's bad laziness.
Okay.
Which is stupid.
Okay, that's stupid.
Good laziness is when it's a bit like me sometimes. I'm lazy, but I find productive ways of making things happen. Like for instance, there was a time when I had to manually send out emails to our client list, and it was time consuming, and I was getting very lazy doing it.
Yeah.
And I invested in an email management software.
Oh, right, okay.
And I actually free up my time to be able to do more productive things. But I was just too lazy to do the same old mechanical thing. So there's dumb lazy and there's smart lazy. So dumb lazy is stupid. Smart lazy is being productive and
Right.
Smart lazy is working smart.
working smart, actually.
Right? Would be smart lazy.
Yeah.
You're saving time to do other stuff.
Yes. But I
Interesting.
wouldn't call smart lazy slothfulness either, because you're using time to do other stuff.
Yeah.
And I like people. So I had this boss once. He said, I like to hire smart lazy people. Because they're productive, they're innovative, they come up with new ideas.
Right.
If you are hardworking and just working hard, not thinking of ways to improve the system or the process or the flow, and you don't mind putting in the super long hours, you may not work as effectively as someone who's smart lazy.
Because you give yourself time to think.
Yes. And
Smart lazy gives you time
you
to think.
And you think of ways to do things better, quicker. I like that. I think a lot of inventions today, because of smart lazy people who are thinking of better ways of doing things.
AI.
Oh, AI, yeah.
Smart lazy people. Really? It is. It is the number one tool for
Are
smart
you
lazy
guys
people.
watching FD on the screen? Look at how big his eyes are.
But it is. It's true. Come on, hello.
And that's interesting what you said about AI, because AI can make you smart lazy or stupid lazy.
But if used properly, it makes you smart. Lazy,
exactly,
I believe.
Yeah, but if you're just copying wholesale AI and just dumping it as passing off as your work,
Yeah.
that's stupid lazy.
Yeah.
And that's being slothful, because you don't want to put in the effort, you just copy, find answers all here.
Yeah.
So that's where it happens. And for parents out there with kids, don't cover their ears when I'm talking about this next. So when I was studying in school, okay, I used to copy my friends' homework.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you didn't hear that, kids?
Did you hear that, kids? I used to copy my friends' homework, and it was not because I was lazy. It was because I find that my study style suits me when I copy someone else. I don't just photocopy blindly. I try to figure out, why did he do this? Why did he do that? So my learning curve was steeper when I had a model answer next to me, and I did it. So it was faster, took shorter time, and I understood it faster. So I was being lazy, but I was being smart lazy, and the learning curve was a lot faster, because that was my study style. I copy, I understand, I process, and then I can replicate it.
Right.
So that to me is being smart lazy. But kids out there, don't copy your friends' homework.
So your friends were basically early versions of AI for you. Technically, right? It's the early version of AI for you.
they would do the work. I'll just copy.
Yeah.
But and it was a way of learning. So if you are at work, being slothful is not good. Okay, because nothing comes through not putting in the effort. Unless you're incredibly lucky, or you're born incredibly rich into incredibly rich families.
Okay.
So I think slothfulness is one. And one thing someone once said. Someone mentioned to this very successful person and said, "No, wow, you're an overnight success." And he said, "Yeah, my overnight success took 20 years to build."
Right.
So a lot of times we see the results, but we don't see the effort being put in, and we think that it's fun. It's like when you were watching American Idol, those sort of shows or reality shows, right?
Yeah.
You see these wannabe idols at the first, second round. There are two types of participants. One type are those that really, in their free time in the evenings, they go party, they go drink, because they think that's the American Idol lifestyle when you become successful.
Yeah.
But you look at them, then there's another group which in their evening times they go back and they rehearse, and those are the guys who get to the finals. So it's a lot of hard work, and life isn't simple. But I think it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Anything you do, if you want to be good at it.
If you want to be good at it. Yeah, I think so.
I was just thinking, speaking of slothfulness, we got a few more seconds.
Yeah.
Then we'll go on and talk about the next point. Like, I remember when we were in our old company and all that. We are here waking up like 4:30 in the morning and all that.
Right.
And management wanted us to actually work over the weekends as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, look, you've got part-timers, right? Why would you want us to not have a break over the weekend? So I ended up paying part-timers to do the shift. And after that, they kind of put a stop to that as well. Why? Because they want to be fair. I'm like, yeah, fair. You ask everybody else to wake up at 4:30.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going back on it.
True.
Kiss 92 traffic.
Let's take a look at it. You've got the usual delays across the expressways. That is not going to surprise you very much this morning. We have the PIE towards Tuas, an accident at Adam Road exit. Look out for that. The PIE towards Changi. We have an accident after Paya Lebar. And the TPE towards the PIE, a vehicle broken down after Punggol Road exit. Also on the BKE towards the PIE, an accident after the KJE exit. Please stay within the speed limit. Have everyone buckled up. Be safe as you drive today.
Good morning and welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for today is Adrian Choo from Korea Agility International. We're talking about the 5 deadly career sins. We just touched on slothfulness. We're going to go into greed or gluttony right now.
How does that relate to work?
Well, I think one of the things that we sometimes can get carried away at work, it's not greed for food or whatever it is, but sometimes you get greedy for power,
Yeah.
greedy for more money, which in itself is nothing wrong. But if in excess, then it gets a bit dangerous for your career.
But it's also very sensitive, right? I mean, when you start talking about money
Yeah.
to your employer,
Correct. So
it's always sensitive.
I know this person. Every 6 months, he'll go back to the boss and say, "Boss, I want more money. I need more money." And he wasn't really even performing that well, that great.
Right.
So can you imagine FD, one of your employees?
Yeah, you get sick with that, don't you?
I think he's, I'm sure he's had over the years.
You do have people like that. And you know, to me,
What do you do though?
you try and work it out with them, because if I'm going to increase your salary, the pressure on you is going to grow. If you can't handle the pressure right now, how are you going to handle the pressure that grows? That's number one. And we need
But
to
is
make
that
them...
also fair, not Adrian? It sounds like a threat.
No.
No, in a way. I mean, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But sometimes, because of what you guys do, the OTs and, the burning of weekends and stuff, it's a very different industry.
But they get paid for that, or
I
they
know,
get
but
time off.
But then telling them
Oh.
something like that, oh yeah, if I give you more money,
No.
a lot more pressure is going to be on.
there's-
You know what I mean?
There's a difference between telling and explaining.
Okay.
Right? You explain to them that it can be done, but that means I'm going to have to do this. Now, how are you going to achieve that? If you have a plan to achieve that, then I'm quite happy to give you the money. But your plan to achieve what you have now has not worked. So how are you going to achieve the next level? They need to think about this.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it in a different way. This person could be already excelling, right? I mean, doing enough.
Yeah.
This person could also be motivating the rest of your staff because of his or her personality or character or whatever.
True.
And perhaps maybe, is expecting a little bit more,
Yeah. I think
But
it's
then
okay.
if they have a boss like FD who goes like, okay, look, I'm going to give you more money, but then you're going to have to work a lot harder. So it might not
No,
necessarily
but
be...
it's interesting what you just said. If the staff is performing and doing over and above where the
Then it-
expectations are, then it's fine, right?
It doesn't affect you, you see. But if the person is not performing,
Yeah.
as Adrian said in his example, they're not performing. That's a whole different kettle of fish. If someone has a motivational effect on the rest of my office, and he comes to me and says, "Boss, I need more money," my first question to him is, "Do you want more money, or can you handle more responsibility?" Because if he's a motivator, then I want to promote him.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want him to stay where he is. I want him promoted so he motivates down,
Yeah.
So I ask questions like that related to the money that you want.
Right. You're also a good talker, Bosses like that quite dangerous.
No, but no, to the point of greed, like what Gordon Gekko in Wall Street, Michael Douglas said, greed is good. Okay, in the movie he just basically said greed is good, and but what he meant was not greed, as in avarice, wanting more of everything. Greed as in hunger for more money, yeah, that's fine. Hunger for more work, more responsibility is fine. But when you get greedy and you got this promotion and say that, okay, in the next 6 months I want to get another promotion and I'll do all it takes to get, and it's fine also if it's within limits, but sometimes you just get carried away. You want more to the point where either you have to end up stepping on other people's toes or burning yourself out. Then that kind of greed is not good. Then it's almost akin to gluttony, where you're at a buffet restaurant and
Right.
you've had your fill already, and it's like, oh man, that looks really good. You keep eating until you throw up, right? So one of the biggest sins is about gluttony, greed, corporate greed.
Corporate greed. I think the one place where greed is good, and I find it really good, and I've had one or two people like this in the office, where it's greed for result.
Okay. Let's continue to talk about that on The Big Show TV. It's 8:14.
Kiss 92 Time Check brought to you by Putian. Putian's pot of goodies is filled with 12 premium ingredients. Order a takeaway to get a complimentary
For result. Some people call it hunger for results.
Yeah.
But when I found that when people use the word greed, it is more motivating. There's more propelling forward. Because I think greed is a harder, stronger word than hunger.
Yeah, that's why Gordon Gekko said greed is good.
Greed
and
is
it's
good.
interesting because after watching Wall Street, the movie, that was the first movie that got me started thinking about changing my career path when I was a kid from going to medical school towards going into business. Because I was looking at Gordon Gekko, I was going, oh man, I want to be like him. He's
So cool.
Yeah,
right?
You're so cool, right?
It's like
Yeah.
ruthless but cool.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, corporate raiders. Wow, it's like, wow, so amazing though in those days. And that was when I decided, okay, yep, it's career switch time. So that was one of my first pivotal moments I was watching. I still remember
Right.
it was in the old Jade Cinema. Remember Jade?
Oh my
Yes.
goodness, the Jade Cinema.
The old Jade
Wow.
Cinema at Beach Road, right? I remember I was watching it. I was like, okay, this is good. Oh, wow, okay, that's amazing.
Was there another? It was Jade and Prince.
Prince. Jade and
Yes.
Prince.
Are they still around? I think.
No, I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think they're there, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think the cinemas are there anymore.
Yeah, so
think
it
they
was.
were
They were next to each other, right?
Yes.
Jade and
Yeah.
Prince, right? Yeah,
Jade
those,
and Prince.
those were the days. So it's like, oh, wow. So greed is good, but being too greedy, as in everything also I want. So some people are very power hungry as well. You know, we all know, we all have bosses who are power hungry.
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes to a very unhealthy level where you compete with everyone else in a negative kind of way. Once again, all these are, they're flip sides. There are good things and there are bad things. In excess is bad. So that's why we need to measure it and need to be aware of it because seriously, being too greedy, putting too much things on your plate might kill you in the end.
I still, when I hear the word greed, it still comes across to me as negative. I still prefer hungry.
Hunger.
Hunger.
Like an insatiable appetite,
Yeah.
So hungry, you strive to do more and
To
to
do
do
more.
better every
Yeah.
single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think greed as in greedy is more towards I'm already full but I want stuff it in anyway. I want
Yeah.
some more anyway. So it's
Yeah.
in excess. So I think that's where the greed comes from.
Does it always turn out well?
Sometimes it does. Once again, I think it's a balance, and then you require wisdom whether or not I'm overstretching myself. So I know this individual, very ambitious, in one of the previous companies I was with, and he was very greedy he was very hungry and greedy for status, and he wanted to get promoted very quickly.
Okay.
So he would take on every new project that came in, and after a while, he got burnt out because he was just taking so many projects coming in. He got burnt out, and because of the sheer volume of work he undertook voluntarily, he couldn't deliver to the level where he should be delivering, and it hurt his own career.
Okay, then I want to say this. I've had people like this as well, and I'm sure other bosses who've got companies have had this. How do you go to a staff member and go, no, you need to stop?
Stop selling, you make no.
No, not for the company, because obviously you don't want that to happen. But you know that person is taking off, has bitten off more than they can chew. How do you deal with that?
I think you need to pull the person aside and have an adult conversation about focus. About focus. You only have so many hours a day. You only have so much resources. So either I give you more resources to help you with your task because you're actually doing very well in it, or I will have to ask you to focus on these are the three core areas. So that's where the role of a good boss comes in, to provide guidance and to provide that wisdom with regards to being a better and being more effective at their own delivery.
Yeah, I asked that question because I think a lot of bosses do not see the burnout coming in their staff because their eyes are not open.
I feel like then they should not be bosses. I feel like really not everyone is cut out to be
Nah,
a
not
boss. You know what I mean? A boss needs to be really, really sharp. A boss needs to be able to communicate very effectively
Yeah.
with their staff and be able to recognize certain signs, in order to keep their team in tip-top condition and putting the right people in the right places and things like that.
True.
But
some bosses are not nice people. They don't mind burning out their staff if their staff makes more money for them.
right.
So I know of this individual who is very successful, very, very rich. But what he does is he hires people, he burns them out. And he uses greed to incentivize his staff. So he will bring his staff to a showroom, a nice car showroom from one of the high-end brands. He says, no, it's time for you to upgrade. Let me help you with the deposit, the down payment.
Okay.
You should get it. No, I'll pay the 20% down. I'll loan it to you interest-free. You just go. And then they hook the person in, and he puts the money down, right? Then he becomes your corporate slave.
Of course.
Then he's got to work his ass off. He's got to sell.
Right.
So some bosses, they actually leverage that sin, the deadly sin of greed to do it. And it's stupid for the individual, but at the moment in time, they feel that, oh wow, they're so kind of my boss to put down the deposit on that high-end car for me. But he doesn't realize that it's just out to sting the hooks and reel
That's
him in. So it's
ridiculous.
terrible.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen that before with my very own eyes. Terrible behavior. But like what you say, not everyone's called to be bosses. But that's why this guy is so rich.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he uses people.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next sin is envy.
Envy. Now, envy is something which I guess a lot of us are guilty of. Me especially.
Yeah, all of us are.
Yeah.
There's always someone you envy.
Yeah, but when envy it can be counterproductive. Envy can be used to drive you to work harder, be more successful at your work. But envy, if you are in the wrong set of mind, okay, it can be quite destructive. Because when you look at your neighbor and you go like, oh no, he's got a bigger car than me. Oh, he's got a bigger house than me. Wow, you mean the bonus last year was 6 months? Oh no, wow, where's my career? And then you feel upset. So I had this individual once, this candidate, this client of mine. He came in and he said, Adrian, I don't think I paid enough. And when I asked him, his salary was pretty good. Okay, for me it was. They said, what's your trigger? When do you start feeling this? He said, 2 months ago. So I said, why? So I went to a class reunion and I saw my classmates. They've got they all came in big cars, bigger than mine. Not as though he wasn't driving in Singapore, you got a car means you're okay already.
Yeah, exactly.
They said, no, the guy got a bigger car. And he had this watch, this fancy watch, the brand name which I cannot even pronounce. Okay. And I feel I'm not paid well. And I told him, look, looking at what your job scope is, right now he's making pretty good money. He's going back at 5 every day. The other guy who I know the other guy whom he's talking about works his butt off. Okay, travels 80%. So there's a cost to everything.
Of course.
But because he was envious of the other person, he became unhappy and he started a downward spiral, saying that I want a job that pays more. I don't like this job anymore.
Oops.
So that's where the envy comes in, which is unproductive.
It's totally unproductive because I remember this when I first started out in radio, and my then program director said, there will always be people better off than you are.
Yeah, and people worse off than you.
And
right?
people
like
worse
you
off
said
than
before,
you are. You will never reach the top. Never.
That's also not nice for him to say. Like, you'll never reach the top.
but
Okay, well, let's
it's
talk about this
true.
again on air.
Like a skyscraper. Like a skyscraper.
Kiss 92 traffic.
Delays across the expressways, no big surprises there at this point in time. AYE towards Tuas, an obstacle on the road before Normanton exit, avoid lane 3. CTE tunnel towards the AYE, a vehicle broken down at Orchard Road exit. PIE towards Tuas, a vehicle broken down after the KPE exit, avoid lane 5. PIE towards Tuas, an accident after Adam Road exit, again avoid lane 5. Please stay within the speed limit, have everyone buckled up, be safe as you drive today.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. It's Happy at Work Thursday with Adrian Choo from Korea Agility International. Today, it's very interesting. I mean, Adrian caught the movie 7 over the weekend and decided, hey, maybe we can kind of link the two and let's do something like the 5 deadly career sins. And so far, we've covered slothfulness, greed, and gluttony, and we kind of went into envy a little bit on the Big Show TV.
It's interesting because this whole envy thing, right? As I was saying earlier, I had a program director who told me there are always going to be people better than you and people, worse off than you are. So it's not that you don't have drive and you want to get better, but be happy. Don't. If you're envious of what your schoolmate is doing and how successful he is, then you figure out how you are going to match that.
But isn't that competition? And competition is
that's
important.
where the big caveat for today's session is there, you see. Although these are deemed as deadly sins, there's a good point and there's a bad point. In excess, it is bad.
Yeah.
So envy is okay if you look at some. So big question here for everyone and our listeners as well. Something my dad taught me when I was young. What's the difference between envy and jealousy?
Okay.
Wow. Okay, good.
Well, I think it's the heart. If you envy someone, I think your heart is in a better place. I think.
Yeah.
But if you're jealous, then you've got that.
The bitterness.
There's a bitterness.
Correct.
Yeah. There's a bitter taste in your mouth.
It's like you're bad-hearted.
So I think envy is a normal response.
Okay.
If you see someone doing better than you, and oh wow, I envy you guys.
Yeah.
Going on radio every day, this is the dream job for me. It's like wow,
Yeah.
so fun, sharing your ideas, spreading joy and cheer every morning to everybody in Singapore.
Right.
I envy you guys. Am I jealous of you guys? So that's where the word jealous comes in. So envy, in a way, can be positive. Likewise, greed, earlier we talked about, can be positive if it drives you in the right direction. But when it goes into excess, and when envy becomes jealousy, it's like, I hate this guy now. I want to work. I want to sabotage his success. My boss is my colleague is billing more than me. I want to sabotage, and then it becomes negative. I guess. So everything has got a plus and a minus side. So don't let the envy spill into jealousy, and it requires a certain amount of self-awareness, maybe even coaching to help you differentiate the two and not tip over. So envy could be good, could be bad. It depends on the outcome. But if you are letting it drive you into a negative area, into a bad place, that's dangerous.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about arrogance before we go back on the Big Show TV. So arrogance or pride.
Pride, yeah. Pride goes before a downfall, right? That's what they always say. So,
But aren't you supposed to be proud of what you're doing and what you've achieved?
and once again, I know we're going into semantics here. It's okay, and that's why whenever we got clients coming in for interview training, and Yen will always tell them that, look, when, especially us Asians, when we go for interviews, we are a bit embarrassed to go like, yeah, I achieved this, I achieved that. It's so embarrassing to be blowing your own trumpet. Right? So we tell them that, look, it's okay, because we Asians are taught not to be proud.
Yeah.
Okay, don't be proud.
I don't know whether we're taught not to be proud or we're taught not to show off.
Show off, yeah. Not to show off, not to be proud. But it's okay to be proud. I'm proud of my children. I'm proud of my son. I'm proud of my daughter. But I'm not going around and boasting. That's different.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that's why I think it's okay if you have made a good achievement in your previous job. Don't be ashamed of it. Just be proud of it. But proud and being prideful.
Yes. Prideful is a character.
It's a character. I'm very prideful. I can do this. I'm the best.
Like too much pride. He's got too much pride.
Yeah, achievement is good. Being proud of your kids, your family, your spouse is good. Being prideful is bad. And that's why this thing about arrogance comes in. We need to realize that success is never permanent. Likewise, failure is never permanent. You fall down, you pick yourself up. But success is never permanent as well. So don't be proud. Don't be overly prideful.
All right. Okay. We're talking about the top 5 deadly career sins with Adrian Choo from Korea Agility International, and we'll continue to talk about this on the Big Show TV. In the meantime, this is ITZY with Untouchable on Kiss 92.
Okay, we're talking about the 5 sins of your career. if you have questions for Adrian regarding what we're talking about, if you're in a situation, put those questions through on our comment section on our Facebook page. I've got one that I'm going to ask Adrian in a while when we're done with all the sins, because I think it's quite an interesting one, and I don't know how to solve the problem.
Okay.
Mic on.
Testing.
Yes,
Okay.
we got it.
So it's like when we talk about the 5 deadly sins, the 7 deadly sins, I feel so religious. We should be putting on Gregorian music in the background. Gregorian chanting. It's like, make it feel like a sermon. But I think we have to guard against arrogance and pride, because when you get proud and arrogant, you start to get an inflated ego, and then you start stepping on people's toes, or you think that you're indestructible.
Yeah.
And then you get complacent. So that's why we have to consistently remember that, we may be at the top of our career, but don't forget the people who have helped us get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't forget about the people who are struggling as well. Go out, spend some time. And one way I love recommending our clients to give back is through mentoring. So you don't have to give back to society by donating money, tons of money if you have it. I think just giving back in terms of time, sometimes giving back in terms of time costs more than money. Sometimes. So, if your staff comes up to you, asks you for advice, coach them, mentor them, it helps to keep you grounded as well.
Here's the thing I want to ask about this, because when I was doing my prep for my morning show, one of the things that people in careers are looking for today is mentorship.
Yeah.
Okay? It's very important. Question is, should mentorship be offered, or should I go look for a mentor?
I love that you just brought this up, because I've been thinking about this for a while. I happen to believe that it should be offered.
Right.
So in an organization.
Yes.
Right?
This is what I'm talking about.
Once again, so it comes down to a good boss. The boss looks around and goes like, okay, we've got some people who have done this for a long time, some senior staff or whatever. And I would go like, okay, there are new people coming in, right? Your mentor is going to be so-and-so. You know what I mean? Because you know that this will accelerate the growth of these people who are coming in.
Right.
But I feel like no one does that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much so some of the seniors, might just feel like, okay, I don't want to push my weight around.
Yeah.
I'll just do my job. You know what I mean?
That's
Because they
true.
don't want to be seen as
That's true.
as arrogant, or just because they've been around.
Yeah.
But when you have someone at the top going like, I think FD would be a good mentor to Shalini or
Right,
something like that.
right.
So Shalini, your mentor from today onwards is the Flying Dutchman. So it's official, you see. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not like FD going around teaching Shalini something that perhaps maybe was not that she didn't even want
Right.
any help for example. You know what I mean? It's always that sensitivity there. But yeah, I think once again, bosses should allocate certain people.
Formalize, right?
Right.
Yes.
So what's your thought on that mentorship thing?
I love
Because I
the
think it's
idea.
really important.
I love the idea. I think companies should make it should bake it into their structure, like what you said. Someone comes in,
Yeah.
they get a mentor straight away.
Right.
And I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but when a Jedi starts young, right, he's a Padawan to the master,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Jedi
yeah,
master, right?
yeah.
And I think that's the best way. If you look at at why Germany has so many fantastic engineers. Okay, Germany is it's an engineering hub, and the engineers are one of the best in the world. I know the French will disagree, but I've got some French engineer friends who disagree with me vehemently on that.
Right.
But the Germans have, because their system is one on apprenticeship. When you start out, you work. You don't even need a degree over there. But when you start out, you work under the watchful eye of a master.
Yes.
Of a trained engineer.
Yes.
Who's going to coach you on the things that aren't found in textbooks.
Yes.
And that's why the learning curve is there, and it sets a certain standard. And that's why they also have guilds. Guilds, as in, it's a professional organization. You want to be a member of this guild, you got to keep up this amount of training. So that's where it comes in. So likewise, I think if we all looked at our profession as like a guild, like a craft, like the way you guys do it, it's not just a job, it's a craft, isn't it? When I see you giving advice to the team, off the air, right? Hey, maybe we could do this better. And you asking for feedback. How could we have done this better? It's basically because you don't look at this as a job. Look at this as a craft.
Right.
That you perfect, and you're a craftsman, and you want to be better each time you go on air. So I think if we look at our own jobs and ourselves as craftsmen, as practicing our craft, honing our craft, I think we get a lot better as well. And the best way to get better at your craft is when you got a mentor, like what you said.
Yeah.
I think that's critical.
Yeah. It's interesting because I brought this up only because management listens, and I think management can learn from this. Because generally management in Singapore does tend to listen to us, and they can learn from this whole mentorship thing, because it is being dropped by the wayside these days.
Yeah.
And
I think the fear, I think, and that's the reason why this is not being done, is that some of the mentors might not be in line with perhaps maybe the company. You know what I mean? So it's like
too maverick, is it?
Maybe.
Or the other side of the coin is a lot of the young ones come in and they go, "This is old school. This is not the way I work." But I feel with patience and with a mentor, you can mold that old school with new thought. And suddenly you have an employee that has new thinking, but with all this experience that comes from the mentor.
Yeah.
And you have a really powerful person working for you now.
Agreed.
You know, I think it's so important.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And you can have more than one mentor. You can have one official mentor. You can have other people who are your quiet mentors to you. You just observe how they do it. You can approach them for questions, for advice.
Yeah.
So you can have one official mentor or two official mentors, but everyone else can be a mentor to you as well. You just sit down, open your eyes, and listen and learn. I think that's the fastest way to get good at it.
Yeah. Very interesting. Mentors. It's going. I tell you, it's going to be a topic of conversation in the office today, for sure. People's offices, everybody's going to be talking about this today.
The question for bosses is, are you a good mentor? Who can be mentors in your organization? And sometimes there's such thing as reverse mentoring, where you get a younger person who's experienced in something that the older fogies like us, like technology, it could be digital marketing, it could be how to use TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could work as well. So as long as you have an experience in a particular space, it doesn't matter about the age. You can share the information. And I think reverse mentoring works perfectly too. But it's about identifying who has what knowledge that's useful to be shared.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Awesome.
Very nice. Last.
Last.
Not last, huh?
Last.
But it is the last point that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Last, we'll go on air and talk about this.
Okay, cool.
Aren't you envious that for you it's not? Sweet like honey, color is a cat. Purring in my lap 'cause it loves me. Flexing like a Vegas acrobat. Me and Karma vibe like that. Karma is my boyfriend. Karma is a guy. Karma is my bestie. Karma's a relaxing thought. Karma's gonna hold you down.
Kiss 92 traffic.
We've got the usual delays across the expressways. The AYE towards Tuas, an obstacle before Normanton exit. CTE tunnel towards the AYE, a vehicle broken down at Orchard Road exit. PIE towards Tuas, a vehicle broken down after the KPE exit as well. PIE towards Tuas, an accident after Adam Road. Please stay within the speed limit. Make sure you've got everyone buckled up. Be safe as you drive today.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is Adrian Choo from Career Agility International. We've been talking about the 5 deadly career sins: slothfulness, greed or gluttony, envy, arrogance or pride. And now we've come to the final deadly career sin: lust. L-U-S-T. Lust. Why is this a deadly career sin?
Well, okay. Number one, I think the obvious interpretation of this is,
An office affair.
yeah, things like that. Okay. Bottom line is, don't poop where you sleep. So unless you're Amber Heard, so you
Don't poop where you work.
so don't poop where you work. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
It's that. But in today's context, lust is more about what's the difference between lust and greed? Lust and greed. Greed means that you have it and you want more and more and more and more. Right? Lust is you don't have it but you want it very badly and it belongs to someone
I
else.
see.
So the ye olde English word for it is covetousness. Do not covet your neighbor's wife.
Right. Okay.
Covet means that it's something that doesn't belong to you, but you want it. So when you have a lust for power, you don't have it, but you see this other position that you know that it's more. It's going to give me more, and then you want to go for it simply because you're lusting for that more power, or more money, or bigger job title, and to your own detriment.
Okay.
So greed is good to a certain point, but lust is something that I don't really have it, but I want it so badly, and I don't care what it takes for me to get it. Then you might trample on other people's toes. You might compromise your own standards, your own ethics to get it, just because you are lusting over it.
Donald Trump. Right?
His
You know, I'm
attitude-
not like
Yeah.
totally anti-Trump because I mean we've seen him work before, you know, but there are people who want power like
Absolutely.
that, you know, in
Yeah.
organizations and all that because they feel that not enough is being done. And if they are in power,
yeah, in
they'll be
charge,
able to
yeah.
make the necessary changes. So is that a good thing or a bad thing, Adrian?
And I always ask myself that question. So I once asked a very senior person who's the CEO of a US multinational top Fortune 50. Okay, and I asked him. I said, a lot of CEOs, they're mean, terrible people. Okay, heartless sometimes, and very power hungry. Now the question is, do people become CEOs and then in their position they become heartless, mean, and power hungry, or is it because they are mean, heartless, and power hungry? That's why they become CEOs,
Okay.
right? And his answer to me is, "Oh, trust me, you have to be mean, power hungry,
hungry.
to get there. Otherwise, you're not gonna." So if you look at politicians, they're all power hungry, no matter who you look at. Okay, they're all power hungry, and they want to, which is for good or for bad, whatever your motivations are. But you have to put up with that level. So and once again, it's about there's good and there's bad towards each of these attributes, but unbridled desire for something that you don't really have, and I want to get it at all costs, no matter come what may. Even if I have to sacrifice my ethics at the altar of getting this item, I think that's unhealthy, and that's where the last part comes in.
Yeah, but somehow I can understand that, you know, like someone who is driven, extremely driven, but who is not in a position of power, but has ambitions to be in, let's say, that top position in order to make effective changes.
I think there's a difference in the kind of person you're describing. You're describing a person who's driven.
Yeah.
A person who's driven has a certain amount of conscience. A person who lusts after that power, I feel,
Yeah.
has very little conscience. I will get there however I can,
Okay.
at anyone's expense.
Right.
Someone
Donald Trump.
Yeah, someone who's driven is a little different.
Yeah.
I feel he has a conscience, and that's the difference.
Okay. Let's continue to talk about this on The Big Show TV. Post Malone is next. This is Circles on Kiss 92.
I know we've gone through the various sins. There is one question that came in much earlier.
Wait, so what are the two sins that are missing? I mean, if you were talking about the seven deadly sins, so we've
you
got.
got to Google it. I forgot.
Wait, let me see. Let me
Google.
get. So we got slothfulness, sloth, greed, envy, arrogance, lust.
So your normal sins are slothfulness, gluttony, envy, pride, lust.
There are two more.
There are
seven
two more.
deadly
There's
sins.
7 sins.
Okay, let's go Google that. 7 deadly sins.
I mean, just.
I don't know. I'm
curiosity.
so perfect. I don't have any of these sins. So
Okay, let's
sorry,
run through it, okay?
gluttony.
Or maybe. Wait, hold on. Gluttony and
Okay,
pride
so
are
there's-
different.
Okay, so there's gluttony.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2, I don't know. Okay, there's greed. There's
What pops
There are
up
only
when
7.
when we go
wrath.
7 deadly?
Wrath is one.
Wrath.
Anger.
Anger.
Yeah, wrath and anger. Wrath. Yeah, I think I have to rewatch 7 again to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
all through this.
But okay, while Glenn does that bit of research,
Yeah.
this question came up much earlier, and I'm sure there's someone listening in who's in the same position as Ben is. How about no performance review in the company for 3 years? And the company knows you are their top performer in sales. How? What do you do? There's been no performance review, which means you've stagnated even though you're top of your game, you know.
So, asking from a perspective of an employee or
Yeah,
employer?
from the employee. So what do I do? You know, no one is doing a performance review for me.
And
but I'm
therefore
working
the
my
salary,
ass
and
off.
the salary is stagnated.
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm working my ass off, right? So what do I do?
Have an adult discussion with the boss, but go prepared. Saying, look, in the past few years, I've increased the business by X%. I brought in how many $1 million more of margins,
Right.
and I've not had a salary review in the past 3 years. Could we discuss about that moving forward? And then you have a plan whether or not. It's not just about the dollar value, because sometimes the bosses will go, I'll give you more money. You could ask whether or not we could move to a commission, or if you're in a commission level, can I put a kicker in? If I exceed 100% of my targets, the next 50% or anything above that, you give me an extra 20% more commission. So it's performance based. So whatever it is, you have to have a discussion with the boss.
Is it a discussion or a renegotiation? Not a renegotiation, right?
It's a potato, tomato. It's the same thing. It's a renegotiation discussion. But if you go up to the boss and say, I want to renegotiate my contract, that sounds very a bit too in your face, I guess. But if you're having let's have a discussion. It's been 3 years since I had a salary increase, and I feel that it's some things have changed. Could we have that discussion? And you got to go prepared. These salary renegotiation discussions you have to prepare to build a business case.
Yeah. I would suggest, Ben, that you get hold of Adrian and his team before you take this next step, so that they can prep you properly. How do people get hold of you then?
Oh, just drop us an email, info@careeragility.org. Happy to have that discussion. Cool. And, because if you're not prepared, you just get shut down.
Yeah.
You just get shut down. And there are different formats. So I used to have this boss when I was headhunting. I was on a fully commission basis, and I remember one of my colleagues said, "Boss, can I be paid more?" And my boss just said, "Sure, sell more."
I've told that to people too.
I'm quite sure. Okay, so the 7 deadly sins: pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, and gluttony. But remember, we put the two together, greed and gluttony.
together.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So greed is of material things, gluttony is food.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
Correct.
And
If you remember the movie, Gluttony is Food.
Oh yes, the guy. So and if you talk about anger, okay, anger I think is something that you shouldn't practice in the office, because it's not professional. Have you had bosses before they yell and scream?
oh yeah, of
Absolutely.
course, of course, kick doors in and all that.
Have you ever done that before in your job?
No.
Have you?
No, I do not believe. I've ticked people off and I've raised my voice, but never where the rest of the office can hear it. Because I think if I'm going to tick someone, even if I don't raise my voice, if I'm going to tick someone off, that is done in private.
But
not in
bosses
front of
can
other
do that,
people.
is it? Do they have the license to do it?
No, they
Mostly
shouldn't.
bosses. I think mostly bosses are the ones who really shout and.
I think if
Not
you
so
shout,
much the employees.
if you shout in a situation where the whole office hears it, and it makes you look like you've lost control.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
But I had a boss who just wanted to be heard. You know what I mean? So from the office, he'll be like telling
but
someone
if it's-
off or
but
whatever,
if
and
it's-
people outside, will be able
wow.
to hear. You know?
But if it's loud naturally, then that's okay. But
Yeah.
if it's shouting in anger, and that's where wrath is. Wrath is beyond anger. Wrath is like, over the table. So
Right.
it's okay to be angry. But once again, I always believe that, like what FD said, if you are angry in the office, I think you over the tables or you shout in anger, I think you're just showing the rest of the team you've lost it.
Yeah.
In fact, for me, I find that if a boss or a colleague uses an F word or vulgarities in anger, I think you've also lost it. That's why.
You know, what about in a casual?
I mean, if it's casual conversation, then
I know,
that's
but
one
in a,
thing, right?
Yeah,
But if
but
you're
even
using
that
it
is
on-
inappropriate, right?
Yeah, I agree. But if you are yelling at someone and scolding someone and you know just using bad language, I think it also shows that you've lost it.
Yeah.
You've lost it because you've lost control over. So I know that's a very high bar that I'm setting, but that's what I always believe. Because I used to have a boss that would f-bomb everything, and one day the global CEO came down. And the global CEO actually put him aside and said, "You have to cut back on that kind of language. We don't endorse that kind of culture."
I had a friend once who had a boss who would do that. It happened once.
But the boss owned the company. That's why.
True. But it happened once. It happened twice. The third time the boss called her into his office, she went in with a resignation letter. And the minute he dropped the F-bomb, she put the resignation letter on the table and said, "I'm not your punching bag."
Oh, you mean he used the F-bomb on her?
All the time.
Yeah.
Well,
All
if that's the
time.
case, can't she make a police report?
I don't know about
No.
that. That is a bit
I think you
extreme.
can make a manpower ministry report, but not a police report.
Yeah, because that's abusive. That's being abusive.
Yeah.
Already. You think about
And
it.
she knew it was going to happen the third time round. And once he used it, she just took the letter, put it on his table and said, "I'm not your punching bag."
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
turned around, she walked out, she cleared the table and left.
That's classy.
Yeah.
That's classy.
Done.
That's classy.
I love using the F word, but outside of work.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think some people just can't control it because they're so used to using the F word. But if you can switch it on and switch it off, that's the best.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Going back on air one last time.
Without you, I'm nothing.
Oliver Tree featuring Supercomputer with Essence right here on Kiss 92. All the great songs in one place. All right. Oliver Tree. I wonder whether it was supposed to be Olive Tree. No, of course
You
not.
never know.
Okay, it's Glenn Angel and the Flying Dutchman. Angel is in South Africa and will be back on Monday.
Her
on
birthday.
her birthday.
Yeah.
All right, and once again, a reminder, we have over $3,000 worth of prizes to give away. All these prizes are things Angel uses. Okay, so if you want to win over $3,000 worth of prizes in conjunction with Angel's birthday, which is this coming Monday, all you need to do is just answer this question. Guess Angel's birthday wish.
If you go to our Instagram and
But that's
you
not a question. I mean, what
what
is Angel's birthday wish?
So if you go to our Instagram, you will see a video, which for some reason is incomplete. I don't know why. And that's why this question came up.
Yeah, send us your answers, 8855-0920. Also, check out our Big Show TV right now because we have the question of the day that's going by across your screen.
Yeah.
All right? Okay.
Just put your answers in the comment section of our Facebook.
All right, we are with Adrian Choo from Korea Agility International, and we are talking about the top 5 deadly career sins.
Yeah. So
Any questions, bro?
Any questions?
No?
The questions are, well, they're not questions. They are more statements. How people have interpreted what we've said. Mark De Silva, for example, has said, driven is for the benefit of the company. Lust is for one's own benefit,
Oh, that's true.
which is another way of looking at it, right? The issue of mentoring being assigned is that the junior might not want that particular person. This is interesting. Or might think that they don't need a mentor. Then resentment sets in. That's Mark's 2 cents. My comment is, when we're employing someone, can we inform them that they will be put under a mentor?
Yeah, you can.
You can, right?
Yeah. If it works out, it works out. So what you can always try is just a 3-month mentoring limited program where you can talk to the person for 3 months. And after that, if you want to carry on the mentoring relationship, there's no longer a formal, you must meet once every fortnight
Right.
type. So if you want to carry it on, you can carry it on. If you want to just let it rest, you can let it rest. Because sometimes the mentor doesn't like the mentee. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So it cuts both ways.
Yeah.
Cuts both ways. So, but if you have that option, I think that's good. But I think, I always believe is that if you find someone you admire, you think has skills and is willing to share, just go up and ask, strike up a conversation, no matter how senior he is. Ask him, how do you do it? Let's get advice.
Okay. All right.
The other one is Asians are brought up not to be proud. Is that a hindrance to career advancement?
Once again, it is, especially when it comes to interview time. Then you don't use a language that shows your achievements. Like for instance, a lot of times instead of saying I did this and brought in so much money, you go we did this. And if you do that, you're basically giving away your achievements to everyone else. So maybe we can talk about this the next session.
Yeah.
Session, yeah.
Let's do that.
That's
Thank
a
you
good
very
one.
much, Adrian, for joining us today.
Pleasure's all mine. Have a great weekend ahead. It's going to be a wet weekend, I understand. So stay dry.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah.
Okay, headline news and sports up next.
Wake up.